I think about Jackie Robinson.
Mm.
I know we going way back to that, but we talk about like game changers and an infielder. I'm just like the way he put speed in the game. It wasn't speed like that in the game prior to that. And then you see
Mm.
that in the 70s and the 80s. One thing I forgot to talk about the damn nights we ain't in this era. I'm going before 95, just the 80s Cardinals teams with Willie
Mm.
McGee, Vince Coleman. Vince Coleman is like the fastest dude besides Ricky Henderson with the crazy stats. And their whole thing was hitting singles and hitting little doubles and just taking advantage of the base pass. They played on AstroTurf. Ozzie Smith stealing hella bases. Um,
Wow.
the 80s Cardinals team was loaded with all of these types of players who I think are game changers because they took small ball to a new level. Like we don't even have to hit hella home runs to beat y'all.
Just chip away at you.
We could chip away, we could steal a base, we could bunt, we could hit and run. It's just a lot of little things that I feel like is lost in the game now because in the game now it's just all strikeouts and home runs. But
Yeah.
that essence was all dominated by black folks. And in the 90s, that Atlanta Braves team, I mean, they was just hella good. And the pitchers get a lot of the credit when we talk about that team, but the offense wasn't no punks neither. Like they
Mm.
they put up big numbers. Um, and then the two sports stars that you referenced, Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders. I mean, you talk about electrifying. Uh, Bo Jackson was crazy. Some of his throws that you've seen from right field or from center
Hmm.
field,
Yeah.
um, even when he struck out and broke the bat over his knee, wasn't no
Yeah.
like these are things that live rent free in our brain. Like they just
Yeah.
like you remember that shit, man.
Yeah,
You
man.
remember him climbing up walls on All-Star games and hitting homers and all that shit.
Hell yeah.
So those are some electrifying, I think, game changers. But not until recently, man. I love what Mookie Betts is doing on the Dodgers.
Yep.
Being able to came in as an infielder, they moved him to outfield, and then they move him back to the infield. About to get his, I think, seventh Gold Glove, but his first one as a shortstop. He was just
Man.
in right field last year. Now he's playing shortstop in the World Series at the highest level.
Now.
So
And we don't
he's.
have another we that hasn't happened. Is it a
I'm not.
precedent for that?
I'm not sure if we got an outfielder and a shortstop. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that has ever happened though.
Yeah. That don't sound
Yeah.
familiar.
Yeah, I don't know nobody playing both positions like that at that level. So,
All right, let's talk sauce, man. Sauciest players, man. And that's from, me and you done had a lot of conversations about baseball players being able to get the flyest out of all the sports. You see some football, you see some in the NFL now where they may have like a small diamond piece on, something like that, but you really get to show out in baseball from how you put your uniform together. You could throw a couple chunks on, the hairstyles, because people really get to see you, right? And until you really got to dive and get in the trenches, it's really a clean sport. So you kind of can like stay clean all game too, unless you're in that infield and you got to like get in the mud for some shit. You kind of get to stay clean too, right? So Jury, best shoe. We already know the Griffey's is up there. Shades, Jerry curls, all that, man.
was
Sauciest 9505.
what's funny about this shit is I don't know why everybody in that era had a dangly earring. That shit ain't
You
never
had to you had to have a dangling earring, bro.
it ain't been happening since, but everybody had the dangly earring, man.
Barry Bonds was the president of that club
He
too.
he absolutely was the president, man. Mo Vaughn had that thing on, man. My God, everybody had a Derek Bell had that shit on,
Griffey,
man. Did Griffey have a dangly?
Griffey had one. Let me
See,
let me confirm, but I'm pretty sure Griffey had one, bro.
but nobody is saucier than rookie year Deion Sanders on the Yankees.
Mm.
Nobody saucier than that. Uh, when he came in the box drawing money signs in the batter's box with about 14 chains on, Jerry curl out the back, like
Yep.
hitting triples. Like nobody is. This is crazy. Like how he just came on the field. I actually feel like there's this cat man. He's not African American, but do you remember a Pascal Perez?
Yeah.
Um, Let me see if I know I had one photo of Pascal.
Is he
His,
with the Reds?
nah,
Rainbow.
he was like Expos. Look at this guy, man. He is out here,
Nice.
like
Nice.
hella chains on, man. Oh, like I know I had it queued up. Yeah, Expos, but he had the Jerry curl.
Clean.
He had the pieces on, gold teeth,
For sure.
all of that, like just showing out there.
Dominican too, so that make perfect sense. Shout out my
Uh,
Dominicans.
and they wear way more chains now, but that swagger, that shit started though, like late 80s. But
Hmm.
all the people, I just feel like it was a whole bunch of dangly ass earrings. Nobody studied harder than Dion when he was playing in them early years.
Yeah.
Uh, that's
Right.
that's definitely the ones, and I just feel like the way they hit the field, just all the stuff that you said, you could really see it now. Because man, it ain't really. If you looked at the Mariners just lost in the ALCS last week, shit, early this week, whenever that was, it's
Hmm.
like that team was comprised of Afro Latin guys, and damn near everybody had some shit coming up. When they came to play, like they had something on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was different. They was changing colors with it, every day. There was one cat, he changing his shoes. He had a sparkly color shoe this day, a multi-color shoe that day. The next day, like and that was Naylor. Um, so yeah, man, the essence is there, just to your point.
You get to show your personality in baseball, man.
You
Probably more
do,
so,
man.
more so than any other sport.
Acuna be stunting, man. MVP
Oh yeah.
shit, like he
Yeah.
always come out there with something crazy on
Yeah.
all the time.
Let me uh let me ask you about managers and GMs
Yeah, we
um
ain't talk about that.
in this era. And this is actually a area where I'm really trying to learn from you because I couldn't name a black, embarrassingly, I couldn't name a black manager, but I know they was in the mix and everything that we talked about
Yeah,
and influential in these dynasties and in these great players we talking about. But
yeah.
who are some of the ones that you think about from
It
95?
and even in that era, like you can't talk about nothing without talking about Dusty Baker in that era, man.
Mm.
And I know Dusty
Hmm.
with the Giants, and just they won so many games. We didn't get a chip until 2010, but that whole era with the Barry Bonds teams was just that's all Dusty. Um,
Man.
and then the early 90s, and I don't know when he was out, but Blue Jays in the World Series right now. It's the first time they've been in the World Series since Tito Gaston was the manager in the early 90s. Tito
Huh.
Gaston with the Joe Carter. Shit, we ain't talking about Joe Carter today, but it's one of the most iconic home runs ever hit in Major League Baseball. Game 6 of the World Series to end it with a walk-off homer. That's Tito Gaston's squad.
Damn.
Uh, Hal McRae. Hal McRae that was the Royals. Don Baylor. When Frank Robinson was the manager.
Huh.
Uh, he's getting more love now, and I hope he comes back this next year. But I know he took a leave this last season. But Ron Washington, who's been in the game for a long time, he was on a lot of those A's teams. Um, in the Balco years, the 1998 to 2005, when everybody on the A's was on the roids, and that was dope. Fire baseball. Miguel
Huh.
Tejadas, shit. I'm trying to think of the black players that was on that team. Miguel Tejadas, Terrence Long. Wasn't a lot of them, but Ron Washington was a third base coach.
Okay.
Um, and what's crazy though, a mad underrepresentation of this is in the GMs. There's only been four black GMs in the history of Major League Baseball.
Wait, in the history.
In the whole history of Major League Baseball, there has been four black GMs, and only one
Shit.
of them today. And that one is the Houston Astros. And he only been on since 2023, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
They
was
got a
his
chip that year, right? Didn't and wasn't that the year they won it?
No, they've put together a lot of good teams, but I think you're right. But what did the I know they just went and they beat the Phillies.
I think they got it that year,
I
bro.
think you're right. I think you're right actually, now that I think about it. It was either 22 or 23.
I'll
So
check. Keep going. I'll check.
yeah, yeah. So
2022 against the Phillies.
okay, so he just missed that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dana Brown, that's the only one. And then Bill Lucas, Bob Watson, and Ken Williams were the other three. So only four black GMs in the history of the game,
Damn.
which is wild.
Bro, that
Which
kind of that like so we opened up with the stat of going from 18% to 6%, right?
hmm
Black players in the major league.
hmm
And then four GMs in the entire history of the league.
hmm
Bro, I feel like that's my first time hearing that stat. Like we hear the statistics about ownership in the NFL, and the NBA is probably like the most accessible in terms of franchise ownership.
Right.
But yeah, bro, I think I just assumed it's been more black GMs come through Major League Baseball than that.
And I don't know why there was such a de-investment in African American youth development when it comes to sports because it shifted. And I don't have these numbers right in front of me, but I know what I see on the TV.
Yeah,
Um, there has been an increase in Afro-Latin players and a decrease in African American players, and we know some of those reasons.
right.
It's they set up camps in other countries, in the Dominican, Puerto Rico, shit. I was in Senegal and the
Hmm.
Dodgers got a camp out there. The
Damn.
Dodgers don't have a camp for players in LA. There is no camp for African American baseball players to get developed from the time that they, 5, 6 years old, or even in the teens in Chicago. If there are, it's like somebody who is running a nonprofit who cares. Shout out to Tyson Ross in the town. He's got something called Loyal to Your Soil, which is trying to like develop, young black players. And if you don't get in baseball specifically, like you can get into other sports, but if you can't attract like a youth that's really young, like I'm talking about 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old. If you don't
Yeah.
get them into baseball, it's just so much easier to like basketball or
Right.
football or some
Right.
other sport.
Right.
Baseball is different. There's the little things we talked about, the cerebralness, like understanding like that a stolen base is because you ask a black kid, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna say baseball is boring. Do you
Hmm.
like baseball? It's gonna be like, no, it's boring. It's slow.
Yeah.
And it's like it's slow because like
It's slow till it
you
ain't.
if you play it, it's not a slow sport. It's
Yeah.
actually you be standing around and then boom, you gotta do something hella quick. I
Yeah.
played third base. It's like the ball is coming at you at a billion miles an hour. You have to be ready at all times to if you on a corner position, if you're in the infield, a catcher, all of that shit is fast.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about the dynamics of the sport, like, and the reason it's electrifying is because it's a fast sport. But going back to like just the facts or the stats of like the decline is really in the youth sports and is really like Major League Baseball not putting enough attention, not catering. There's like instead of building up Aaron Judge, who is probably, I'd say, the second best baseball player right now in the game behind Otani. And Otani is crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another story. But Aaron Judge, it's like he's not being marketed to African American communities. He's not being put out there the same way that like, or even just with the commercialization of it, it don't feel the same as it did with. I had Kenny Lofton shoes growing up. We
Yeah.
couldn't afford the Griffies. I wanted them
Yeah.
shits. I'm about to cop a pair now that you're talking, and I can't do it now. I'm like, you know what? I need to go to the store and get some Griffies today. So
Yep. Big fact.
get online and hit sneakers.com or something and cop
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
Griffies, man. But
Yep.
they're not being marketed the same way. So it's like,
Why, in your opinion, why is that? Why would, I mean, uh, yeah, I mean, obviously, it's some obvious,
right.
I got an obvious lens
Which
on that, but I'm just curious, how intentional is that in your opinion, and why?
um it's it is reflection of what is going on in the society. I know that's probably your obvious lens.
Yeah.
Baseball is like a really historic, funky, old ass sport. And they just, they just kind of start changing. Like, used to get in trouble for bat flips and like celebrating too hard.
Yeah.
So the why, I just think it's the de-investment in African American culture, like just period on a national level. Like that shit is just going on everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
and it's cheaper to build camps in communities that you can exploit overseas. You
Yeah.
know, if your American dollar go longer or go a further way than it does in the United States, uh, of course, this shit. Well, if I could set up two or eight camps in the Dominican, why would I
Yeah.
do that in Chicago?
Yeah.
So the why, it always comes back to money and racism
Yeah.
ultimately.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just like we could exploit black folks in basketball and football, so we're gonna do that.
Yeah.
And ain't no black owners in football.
Yeah.
That's on purpose
Yeah.
because we didn't shot our shot. There have been groups we got the money to do something, but they're not trying to let us in that space, and that's
Right.
intentional. And I
Yeah.
think it runs even deeper in baseball. Uh,
Huh.
Cats, when the second, I'm gonna take us way back, go to the goddamn 1940s. The Negro Leagues was so popping in the
Yeah.
1940s.
Right.
White folks is looking like, oh, they doing something different over there. Let's offer them a price they can't refuse.
Right.
Let's,
Same thing with the ABA
same
in
thing with the
basketball.
ABA. Oh
Yeah.
shit. Look at what they doing over there. This kind of game, this is actually more exciting than what we got going over here. Let's poach the best players. And
Yeah.
then it sucks because they poached them and didn't like continue that development. They actually like went away from that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think the why is the obvious one, which is like what is going on in our culture. They trying to take everything from us. They don't want us to thrive in that. In baseball specifically, there were players in the 1800s that were black, and it's whole ass motherfucker Cap Anson was
Hmm.
tired of getting whooped on by black folks and was like, me, and he was good, but he was tired of losing to you know Moses Fleetwood Walker, a pitcher,
Yeah. Yeah.
in the 1800s. He said, "We not feeling our team if any of them come on the field." And because he was good and had a little cachet, they ran with it. And not until Jackie Robinson came back did anything change in that. So
Damn.
you can draw the theories from there, but I can tell
Yeah.
you off top
Yeah.
what's going on, the devaluement in communities of color, especially. Um, they're not marketing, they're not catering to our communities in ways that they have in the past. And it's so easy in this damn world, it's so easy to fall in anything else, especially all
Yeah.
the other sports that's popping shit. Behind this computer screen, it's 4 college football games on behind me.
Right.
You know what I'm
Top
saying?
market.
Like it's all black folks.
you kind of and I'm gonna bring it to a close with us talking about your work and what you want to do to address what we just talked about. I think
Yeah,
like I think we we've raised our collective understanding as to how globalization has worked around the world. Like I think most people know, when you buy a car, it's probably been and some of this has come through people learning through the tariffs. Well, now you see like when a car get made, it got to touch about 4 and 5 different countries, right? And it may get assembled in the United States, but it done went through like 4 or 5 different countries. One of the things that broke my heart this is when I got introduced to globalization and outsourcing was, I'm from Florida, so we one of the things we best known for is Tropicana. And my uncle worked at Tropicana in Bradenton, Florida. I remember my uncle getting, discount on the juice for all the aunties. He come out the Tropicana store with all the bags for the aunties and all that, right? And you used to go to the neighborhood where Tropicana was in, and that whole neighborhood smelled like oranges, right? But when it got around the 2000s, late 90s, that neighborhood stopped smelling like that. And I remember my uncle told me, he was like, we don't we don't process orange juice no more. He was like, we get orange juice from Brazil, the actual juice. We bring it in from Brazil, we throw it in the Tropicana carton, and we ship it out like that. So if you buy some Tropicana juice now, you look at the label, it don't say made in Florida no more. They actually can't say that. It'll say that it was, bought in, imported from Brazil. So to your point about, baseball, it's a part of that larger, which we know is hyper driven by racism, capitalism, finding a way to replace the previous model with a cheaper alternative,
hmm
right? And to your point about like baseball not being marketed to the black community, I could definitely confirm that because again, in our generation, how did it go from 18% to 6%, where your average black person could at least name 2 to 3 baseball players, right? Your
yep,
average, you just pull somebody off the street,
yep,
right? To now, like you say, everybody think baseball is slow, or it ain't really like a black sport,
hmm
right? So all that being said, talk about your vision for what you want to do or where you see an opportunity to address that.
yeah, and definitely been a fire combo.
Hell yeah.
Uh, and I'm thinking about, one of the reasons, like, we talked about, I'm riding around with you in the ATL, and we just talking about, some versions of this. And one of the concepts that I grabbed from you, and put barely a spin on it, but it's just like our conversation was so dynamic, and it's like I'm glad I'm not the only person thinking about this, but it ain't a lot of us thinking about this. But what I'm kind of focusing on in these next couple of years in academia, UC Berkeley, is like what factors are contributing to the erasure of African Americans in professional baseball
Mm,
specifically. And what I found is all the things that we have just talked about. But I think working with organizations to get finding some of the organizations, finding some of the people that are doing it. Uh, got Black Baseball Mixtape. We got MLB. Not the RBI program. They are cool. I said that MLB isn't doing nothing. They got this program called the RBI program, but they start with the kids a little bit too late.
mm,
Uh, I've been doing a little bit of research. Man, I got one for you. Before I finish that, just what factors are contributing to the decline of the sport and
mm,
why? That's what I focus on now on one end, and the other end is working with a nonprofit out here in the Bay Area, the East Bay Cyclones. Um,
mm.
cool. They work with youth from all the way from 5 years old up until 16, 17 years old. And how can we go into the communities and try to promote this more? How can we um and one of my old coaches, he taught me about this, and he's right. He used to pull up to the neighborhood. He used to go into the neighborhood. It wasn't no online recruiting or calling on the phone or going to the school. It's like, nah, I gotta go to the park where we are at. A lot of
Hmm.
times we're not at the park no more, but
Right.
we gotta find other ways to find us at that age and expose it to. If you put a bat in the kid's hand and throw them the ball, they want to hit it.
Yeah.
Like actually a fun ass game. It's all the
Yeah,
other
bro.
stuff that comes with it that kind of you start to dwindle out, or it's like, damn, LeBron James is hella cool. Look at Steph Curry. Look what he's doing. Like that's more exciting. That's being promoted. That's being put in our face. So, one of my
Yeah.
goals over next decade, rest of my life, whatever it is just to try to impact change with some of these organizations I mentioned. Loyal to my soil, Tyson Ross. I think he played 10 years in MLB. He's from Oakland, California. Um, I have some connections and haven't been able to get up with him yet, but I know that is on my radar because it's organizations like these that are on the forefront of affecting change in this space. And I got one for you that's crazy. I went to a National Negro League conference in Louisville, Kentucky.
Mm.
There's 100 people there, partially sponsored by the MLB. And I don't know if you've ever heard of Sabermetrics or Saber.org,
Mm.
or if you look at the game now, you look back 2 years ago, they've sort of switched the rules because they were wilding out, but the Saber Analytics and the data guys for baseball, they had to shit down so much so they'll put like six dudes on one side of the field because they know you're gonna hit it right there. It's like they ain't even got a third base. They're like, we know you're not about to bunt, and we know if you swing the bat, it's gonna be over here. So I'm gonna shift my defense all over here. But the guys who are doing deep analytics or something that I just saw in game 7 of the ALCS, the Mariners were up and they had a pitcher who was dominating. They took him out when he only threw like 60 some pitches because the numbers said take him out. Not the feeling of the game. The analytics said take him out.
Man.
And they ended up losing that game, giving up home runs because they played the numbers instead of like looking at what is actually going on and how does it feel? How are how are the Blue Jays swinging at shit right now? They look terrible swinging that shit. Then they put in the dude who the numbers said was gonna work, and that shit got blew up. So anyway,
Man.
I went to a Saber.org sponsored event, Negro League Conference in Louisville, Kentucky. There's 100 people there. How many people you think was black there?
I give it a strong, I give it a strong 8 piece.
People.
Yeah.
You did good because most people be like at least 50. There's 10 people in that bitch. 90 people were like 90 people was for show over 50 and they were white males.
Yeah.
Uh but most of them were like over 60
Huh.
and white males. So I went into a space where I'm thinking, I'm about to get some fly memorabilia. I'm about to hear some dope shit about, the Negro Leagues and all of that. And it's like the game is being held, even the Negro League portion of the game, by 60-year-old white men. This is
Yeah.
problematic. Like that
Yeah.
shit let me know further that, oh, you have to be in this space. You have to
Exactly.
say something. Shouts out to the 10 people that were there.
Right.
And I talked to probably 7 of them. Uh, and I asked one dude, I said, why are you here? He said, to apply pressure. That's it.
Mm. Yeah.
It's just like, I love this game. And like, they can't just have this whole room without me being
Your mind. Yeah.
there. So,
Yeah.
that's like a lot of the mentality for those guys that were there. But that also reinforced that I know that I was supposed to be at that for a reason. We in Kentucky. Like, this ain't Silicon Valley nowhere, no shit. Like, they got a historic black team in the Negro Leagues in Louisville.
Yeah.
Uh,
Home of
it
Muhammad
they're
Ali.
the home of Muhammad Ali, fire ass museum. one of the
Yep.
best museums I've ever seen in my life. It's a black presence there, and we still shit Louisville Slugger, the
Yep.
baseball bat,
Well,
like
back.
you know what I'm saying, like. So it'll just let you know kind of where the game is at. And it's like if the history of the Negro Leagues is being held by 60-year-old white men, that lets you know that like we have some work to do if we want to, be representatives of this game, extend this game, make sure that, our offspring are able to um play in it, learn about it. So many things you can learn from the sport. We got to be in it. So a lot of the research that I'm definitely conducting is about that erasure piece. Like, how can we affect this? So, yeah, that's kind of what we own right now, man. And hopefully, with some of the work, that number can go from 10 to 20. We can start there. Number
Man,
go
that's
from 10
dope,
to
bro.
20, 20 to 40, man.
I'm hella proud of you, bro. Um, I feel like I just sat in at least a quarter semester of your class just now. You know what I'm saying? So salute to you being on your program and on your history, bro. I know everybody who watching this is going to agree. And